much of a base has been built through this campaign.
Now I thought that it's tomorrow, the emergency meeting.
Yeah, so that's why I was like writing you that I was completely overwhelmed, because first we had to have a emergency press conference so that we could get the media and everything. We're also inviting the media to attend tomorrow, but we wanted to try to get the word out as quickly as possible. Then we have a teach-in. So right after I get off with you, I'm going to be sending out the press release from today.
Make sure
Then
you send it to
writing
me.
the
I'll post
screw.
it to my page.
Oh, cool. Okay,
Yeah,
sweet. I will
absolutely.
absolutely do that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So there's that, and then Monday, tomorrow we'll teach everyone what's going on. We'll do like broader political education, and then Tuesday we'll be in council chambers as we watch the vote. I think that we've determined at this point we're kind of gonna we've kind of exhausted all the political organizing that we can do, and we're gonna take this right to lawsuit. So we're just like, yeah, go ahead, pass it. Like, we see you, we know what's happening, but you're
Yeah.
not going to get away with this. There's a lot of evidence that's against them and damning. One of the things that we definitely need to get into on on the call, when we do this, is that one of the only adjustments that they made is that there's been a Black plurality in Lovejoy for over a decade, and they're now gerrymandered it so much that it is delivering a white plurality to that district for the council member who is a white man. Clearly he has asked and requested this, and it is unacceptable. There was a woman that spoke today, a Black woman who I really greatly admire and respect. She put him up on Front
Is
Street, basically said
she?
like,
Good
oh,
for
like,
her.
not only did she call out that racist bullshit, but then she was like, just so you know, this guy, after I did the public hearing, his chief of staff called her up the next day and offered her nephew a basketball scholarship, like straight up. And she
What?
was just, yeah, and she goes, and I didn't even respond to him because he lives 3 doors down. So if he wanted to say something to me, he could have just come and said it. And I was like, wow, like the audacity. And then I love that she just like put it on Front Street. She was just like, he called me, he tried to bribe me, like, I'm not having it. And I was like, okay.
That
So
was that all happened today?
oh yeah, that
Oh.
happened today. So it's been a busy, busy time here.
Well,
Yep.
I am so happy to have you on. This is just going to be a short, interview where I'm waiting on my co-host Michael. He had lost reception.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, yeah,
Just a short interview, just to get an idea, and I'll use it for promotion as well.
yeah.
Just to get an idea of,
Yeah,
how
sure.
you guys got started, and why. What was the reason? And I was going over your website. I love it. I love that. It's our city. We have the right
Have
to
right
it.
to it. Yep.
Oh,
So
I love it. I
yeah,
love
yeah. So
it.
I said it today, that where we start from, the premise is that we believe that, well, the power elite and real estate developers and the wealth enriching rich and powerful and unaccountable elected officials like our mayor and common council right now believe that it's their city and we're just living in it.
Yes,
And really it's our city and we have every right to it.
absolutely.
And we say it all the time, like, whose city? Our city. We have every right to it. And we have every right to be decision makers when there are policies being made that impact us and our families' lives, and
Mm.
especially the seriousness and the gravity of redistricting, which will have an impact for a decade, and really actually more, because what they do is they build on. And if you keep, when you, I just wrote, this on Twitter, it's like, asking for asking for 9 insecure council members. Like, how insecure and power hungry do you have to be to gerrymander districts, which is really, that's the election, right? Because you can't win an election and we can't have people come in and newcomers and people who are going to be accountable to the people if we continue to have council members who are so deeply insecure that they're rigging elections through gerrymandering, right? So now we
I
have,
was going to ask you,
right,
explain
so we,
gerrymandering, because I'm going to
sure,
use this, and I just want to make
sure,
sure that our listeners
yeah,
understand, the
yeah,
gravity of what's going on, and understand
yeah.
that this could potentially impact them as well. A lot
Oh, it
of people,
impacts
I realize, don't
every
use their
single
voice.
person.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
use their voice because they don't know they have a voice to
right.
use. And organizations like this
Yeah,
provides a voice for the people who don't know that they need to speak up for themselves. So Explain
right.
gerrymandering.
Yeah, and I'll also say the unfortunate point is when you have council members who are literally supposed to be your voice in local government and then they silence your voice, that's why people also become disillusioned very quickly. And I understand that, but the power of the people will always beat back 9 men, right? And I say men because there were literally no women on the common council. So
In Buffalo?
yeah, right? Yes. Like what year is it? Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's sexism, it's toxic masculinity, full
Mm.
throttle right now in our council, and they are showing their true colors. And that is playing out unfortunately before everyone's eyes. So the good thing is we're exposing it. So I appreciate that you're asking what the term gerrymandering is, because I think another term that I spend a lot of time explaining to people is like gentrification. That could be just like anyone of a class dynamic. It doesn't have to be, mostly it is disproportionately white people that are doing the gentrifying, but it doesn't necessarily have to be because it's class based. So in gerrymandering, the idea of gerrymandering is that um, you make uh, districts that will benefit you, and you will do anything to make sure that that's true. So when we look at the map, and maybe we could get a visual up for people to see the map of Buffalo, it is a case study in gerrymandering. So you have a district that goes from Broadway Fillmore all the way to Allentown. And you would be like, how do these two districts in any way culturally, politically align? Like they don't, right? Because someone has decided that they want to live in Allentown and they want to, have political influence, and they want to have a tract. So 11 years ago, the council president lived on the waterfront. The church, True Bethel Baptist Church, bought him a waterfront condo. He needed to fit into that district. So he gerrymandered Ellicott to go out to. He no longer lives there. And so, but it still remains all the way out to the waterfront because of where he used to live. So in Buffalo, people believe that, and the council member said on the record during the public hearing, that the districts have to be made with their houses in mind. That is incorrect. The maps go into effect after a new council and a new term is inaugurated and brought in, for the very purpose of the fact that what is equal, what is fair, what is holistic, what is going to benefit the greatest amount of Buffalonians, in this instance 281,000 plus residents, those needs should always, and if I were a council person, I would be saying, I know that the needs of 281,000 people come before mine. And so you shouldn't be making districts based on my home. You should be making it based on what is, and there's criteria for what happens. So the decennial census data, so the 2020 data, is why people have to do reapportionment and they have to do redistricting, because the population changes. And if you think of one person, one vote, we need to make sure there's equal distribution of people so that everyone has the same power. If you put too many people in a district, which the council's map has done this, and once again, the most powerful district now is white conservative South Buffalo, and the least powerful Black Ellicott district,
I
which
live.
the council president represents.
So I live near South Buffalo. I'm from Lackawanna. I live in Chicago,
Okay,
but I'm from Lackawanna. I was
sure.
quite surprised during the election, the
Oh
mayoral
gosh,
election, riding
yes.
down. Now, mind you, I've lived out here for most of my life, and
Mhm.
South Buffalo was predominantly white, Irish white. So
Yes,
during the
right.
election, I was surprised to see the amount of Byron Brown signs on the lawn. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Well, unfortunately, I am not surprised by that, because misogynoir, the combination of sexism and racism was so real there.
Hmm.
And, my wife is Irish American from Boston. And I said, when she moved here, I said, Jennifer, I want you to know that I am predisposed to pretty much hate Irish people in Buffalo, because they are so
Prejudice.
reactionary, racist, and
Prejudice.
awful. But yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
Living
Like
out here,
they're queerphobic, they're transphobic, they're all the things that we work against every day. And so I know you're the revolutionary Irish. I'm just gonna let you know, like, your people embarrass you here. Like, they are an embarrassment. And they are. I mean,
I
yeah.
can honestly say, living out here, they have
Mhm.
definitely provided the most grief. Irish and
Yeah,
Polish. They've
yeah.
been, It's been my experience that they've been
Yeah,
the most racist towards us,
I
towards
agree.
African
I agree.
Americans,
I
Irish
agree.
and Polish, and
I
living as
agree.
close to South Buffalo and Lackawanna border each other. There
Yeah.
were times where we couldn't even go into South
Right.
Buffalo without
Right.
getting run out of there. So I,
Oh yeah, I've heard they've burned flags
oh
in recent
yeah, the
history and
swastika.
crosses and said things like, well, if they stayed over on the east side where they belong,
Hmm.
because as though they own. So, it's like, wow, like, no. So it is, it's important to us that after 514 and the massacre, that like we should all be taking a deep, hard look at ourselves and being like, okay, we need to make you know, utilize every tool to make it so that this never happens again. And one of those tools is redistricting and reapportionment. And to see that a map is not only going to not be changed at all and be less gerrymandered, it's going to be even more gerrymandered. That, is like, and to take and dilute the Black vote and to take the plurality from Black voters after that just happened to me is appalling. And good, at least we have some, we do have a movement afoot of white anti-racists who are like, that's unacceptable and calling that out. So that's, part of it. But we have a multiracial, multi-generational
I saw
movement.
that.
And
I just want
yeah.
to make sure that we mention the name,
Oh, sorry. Yeah,
Our City Action Buffalo.
that's right.
So,
Yeah.
and you are, and Harper, tell us something about that, because I love the work that you guys are doing. I happened to hop on Facebook the other day and I saw that you guys were down at City Hall. Now I had been
Yeah.
following you on
We've
Instagram,
been
and then I
actually.
got this notification because I, I like to follow those who are, pushing the cause. And
Yeah.
if you're listening right now, if you guys go on their website, you can see that again they are, multinational, and I love that it's not just one wage. And you guys state that on your website that there's everyone has a stake in it. It seems to me from going by what I've seen you guys doing. So explain to us what Our City Action Buffalo is, and Harper, what it is that you guys are working to do in the city of Buffalo.
Right. So our City Action Buffalo is a C4, and there is a PAC associated with it at this point. We are trying to, people know us through this as a nonpartisan campaign and issue based, but we're primarily actually a movement politic organization. We're trying to elect leaders who are accountable to the people, who want to co-govern. We've said throughout this campaign that we're a little bit sick and tired of being sick and tired, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
but that also we don't want to continue in accountability campaigns that, like, it's a passive governance that we have right now, and it's just going to City Hall and telling people what it is that we need them to do, which is their jobs, and to do it correctly. And we shouldn't have to be spending an exorbitant amount of time that we are doing that. And a lot of cities were able to move forward, residents are able to move forward in co-governance structures and systems with people who are ready to listen, who want their constituents engaged, they want them informed, they welcome them into the process wholeheartedly. And that is not what we see here in Buffalo, unfortunately. And so we have a policy platform that we've put together called Our City Action Buffalo Policy Platform, and that there are, thousands of Buffalonians who've poured into that over the years and into our existence. It encompasses all the different types of things: transportation, housing, immigration, policing, all the issues that Audre Lorde told us. We're not one issue people. There's no such thing as a one issue fight. And so no one gets housing insecurity on a Monday and have education problems on a Tuesday. And, they are having all these things simultaneously happen to them, and working in those systems and structures that are meant to disenfranchise them. And we believe that electoral politics isn't the end all of it, but it is a strategy, and it does move it forward, and that someone's going to govern in those seats. And we see that when they govern, and they govern incorrectly, and they govern against the people and for the will, their own political will and political motives, and all those things, then we have the outcomes that we have here. And we're hoping really that we open it up, and the India Waltons of this world are given the opportunity to run, because they reflect average everyday person who's struggling and trying to make it. And we
Yes.
believe that that experience is just as valuable as any books or any, but don't get me wrong, India is brilliant, but just saying that our lived experience counts for something, and we don't
Yes.
necessarily have to have degrees and diplomas and expertise and all these things that they're going to hit us with and say that we're unqualified to be there. We're qualified to be there by virtue of the fact that this is our city and we have every right to it, and we have those experiences, and they teach us valuable lessons that allow us to govern in a way that other people will not govern. And so that's really what we're in the business of doing, is to support teams that and endorse candidates that we think reflect our values and are moving to implement the policy platform, and that we can get to like the imaginative, creative, fun co-governance stuff, because we're not running accountability campaigns like we've been for the last 2 months.
So our city action Buffalo looks to not only hold people accountable, but to make sure that we have adequate representation for the
Exactly.
people who are
Yes.
actually living in these cities, who in these yeah, in the city that's impacted. Buffalo is
Right.
definitely it's a melting pot, but it's also deeply segregated.
Segregated.
It's
Yeah,
so segregated. And
it
growing
is.
up here, you don't even understand that. You just know that you're on your side, they're on their side,
Yeah.
and you don't cross over. So
Yeah.
how did our city action Buffalo get started, and why? What brought me, because I think it's very important to highlight what it is that you guys are doing, because there's organizations like this that we need more of. And if we can support, if we have more people support organizations like this, then our issues are placed on the table, and you can't
Right.
help but hear us now, right? You can't help,
Right.
because we have someone speaking up
That's
for
right.
us. So
That's right. And
explain to our listeners how you guys got started.
so I think that's a great question. And we see that happening right here, right now, is that people are feeling that and they have a place to filter to. And now they feel the amplification of their issues being brought to front and center. We got started because organizers came together several years ago. This was in the middle of the Buffalo Billion being, brought to us, and then now former, but then Governor Andrew Cuomo trying to invest in Buffalo very heavily. I mean, we thought, of course, it was political ambition to run for president, and he kind of had this idea that if he could bring back Buffalo, he could pretty much use that as a model of I can do anything and bring back anything. And right, he was going to use it for Rust Belt and to be, down home and blue collar and working class, and this was sort of going to be it. Well, all these organizations that had been leading on, food insecurity, housing justice, you name it, they were doing it. And they all of a sudden became fringe, because the talk of the Renaissance and the resurgence and all the R words was, it was on everyone's tongues. And we were, those organizations were being marginalized for calling out the fact that we're the third poorest, the sixth most segregated, that we have issues, and being honest about the challenges that we're still faced by a post-industrial town like Buffalo. And in that, we said, what is going to ultimately happen is that our tax dollars are going to end up gentrifying our city and then pushing people out of the city, primarily Black and brown bodies,
Oh yeah, you
who
see
had been there
Broadway.
for generations. Yeah, exactly. And it's hella real. We were told at that time by the city that gentrification was not happening in Buffalo, nor would it be happening for a very long time to come. And they kind of laughed at us, essentially. And that was really disheartening to think, when people who are planning for decades and centuries of a city can't see, pretty clearly that that's what's going to happen. That, or they just lie to us, so it's either they're lying to us or they're, willful ignorance, right?
A little
So
both, a little bit of
yeah, a
both,
little
depending
both,
on who
right?
you're talking to.
Yes. So we decided in that moment we were going to start an anti-gentrification coalition, and we were going to amplify the issues, like I said, that are very interconnected, interrelated, and really tear down the silos and call all these things at once, and say, when corporations go to and lobby in their elected officials and our elected officials, they don't ask for one thing, they ask for everything. And so we said, why should we be asking for one thing when corporations get to ask for everything? So we put it on the table, what it is we needed. We did not skimp. We said exactly what it was we needed. And we have been relentless since that time. And the Anti-Gentrification Coalition, we have a Anti-Gentrification Coalition summit every year where we talk about gentrification and displacement. We have the state of our city as a response to the mayor's annual state of the city.
That's
And
here
we've
done
taken,
here in Buffalo.
yeah.
Oh,
We absolutely have hosted that. Hundreds of people show up on Saturday morning in November, and we run it all day workshops, pop ed, political education, and we have keynote speakers from around the country who come and speak about this issue and about what has transpired in other places and trying to stop it and mitigate the harms of it. And we understand that it's harm reduction at this point because there's just been so much money invested in the past 10 years from the Buffalo Billions. So that was like kind of the origin story, is us coming together as organizers to say like we needed to band together and we needed to shift the narrative. We won that narrative. Now you hear people say a renaissance for who? Who is benefiting from it? The Tale of Two Cities is alive and well. People understand that it's neoliberal trickle-down economics. They understand who's profiting from it, and we absolutely won that narrative. And that would have been unfathomable 10 years ago, that we would be able to shift that dominant narrative from the Renaissance to a pejorative kind of term at this point. For a lot of people, they're not down with the Renaissance. They're not seeing it. They're not feeling it. In the neighborhoods, people openly mock the fact that they've been told in this spoon-fed narrative that they aren't living. It's not their reality. And so that's where we come out of. And that's been 7-8 years in the making.
wow. So you guys have
Yeah.
been around almost 10 years.
So our city, Buffalo, the C3 organization that our city Action Buffalo is birthed out, it's been about 7 years, that we've been fighting. So, when people saw us hit the scene and endorse India early, this is a comrade of ours that we've been fighting with for many years and that we trusted, who helped found the Fruit Belt Community Land Trust, and we were with her in that fight as well. Spent a lot of years on the Fruit Belt doing that, establishing the first ever Fruit Belt Community Land Trust to have affordable housing in perpetuity. So that those things are really, they're really critical to the story of our city Action Buffalo, and that we just didn't show up on the scene yesterday, though our action part and our kind of political action committee and C4 entity is only about a year old. We're still a fledgling organization there, but we've been doing this work for many years. Yeah.
I'm happy to have linked up with Harper and
Yeah.
our city Action Buffalo. So you guys are going to be on the show live on Tuesday.
Okay.
Tell us who's going to be on
Yeah.
the show and what it is that you are going to be bringing to our listeners that's going to be of value, because I've been living in Chicago since 2018, and it
Yeah.
surprised me to come back and see what's going on down Broadway. And that was
Right.
primarily, a lot of Polish Americans lived down Broadway, and then through whatever it changed. That crack cocaine came in, and that area changed. Now they're rebuilding it, and it's gentrification. You can
Yeah.
see the stores going up. That's about to
Yeah.
be a main hub in Buffalo, I feel. And I don't
Yeah.
think that people realize what's going on. They see these buildings going up, but I don't believe that people realize exactly what it is that's going on. So I hope on Tuesday during the live that you guys can explain more of that. So let the listeners know who's going to be coming on and what value it is, why they should tune in to listen, because this is a serious topic.
Yeah, it is a serious topic. I mean, everything that's happening in Buffalo right now is very serious. We are in a dire place, really. There's so much on the line right now. Buffalo is being looked at around the globe, not only because of the 514 massacre and white supremacy and everything that we saw come out of that, but also we also have had and championed campaigns such as India Walton's mayoral run, and her primary win that stunned the whole country and internationally made news. Starbucks and the unionization it started, 3 blocks away from my house, and I go to that Starbucks intentionally to make sure those workers are seen, felt, heard. So that all is all rooted in Buffalo, and so a moment is dawning and people are taking note. And so that conversation, we really want to make sure that folks are listening in. We're going to have 2 grassroots organizers along with me, Dawn Wells Clyburn, who I worked with at People Unite for Sustainable Housing, Push Buffalo, one of the largest nonprofit organizations doing the people's work in the city of Buffalo, focused here on the west side of Buffalo. And she lives on Beverly, not even a mile from Tops, and that is her community. And so she'll be bringing, the thoughts, reflections, and, just how it is to organize as you're triaging, getting basic needs met in your neighborhood, right? To think about big, campaigns like redistricting at the same time, that's really difficult. And just giving an on the ground kind of picture of what is transpiring as she is holding both of those things and organizing for both. And then Cassandra Eubanks lives in the Fillmore district. She's on the fault line of one of these gerrymandered districts. She has no idea what her lived experience in Broadway Fillmore has to do with Allentown, and a district that is far away across the
15
town.
minutes to get
It
there.
really, it does. It takes a Buffalo 15, absolutely. And as India has made mention of at several press conferences, she has said and noted rightfully that when you have 2 different neighborhoods competing for resources, and one is holding art festivals and the other one is just trying to get basic infrastructure, there is a major difference. And to have those districts together, and I think it insults the intelligence of every Buffalonian to not look to see that map and to not know exactly what is happening. And it is not meant for any benefit of the people. It is meant only for a council member who is trying to build their power. And that is really so heartbreaking in a moment when we need to be thinking globally about our Buffalo family. And if there was ever a time for not unity in a kumbaya moment, but a holistic sort of feeling of our neighbors in different places are facing different challenges, and we have to acutely understand what those needs are and how to create a more economic, social, and racially just Buffalo. That has to happen, and the time is now. And so I hope that listeners will tune in for that conversation, because it's going to be, I think, really eye-opening for a lot of people. I will contextualize a lot of things. And I think that also, you just talking about how you grew up here and what you're seeing, the difference and changes. Sometimes when we are living it, we don't see things the same way. And so I think that an outsider's perspective, kind of even telling us what has changed for them, is also knowledge that we can gain and glean, and Buffalonians will be excited, I think, to tune in and hear about an insider's perspective will be really helpful for us, I think.
Well, Harper, I thank you for joining me tonight. I am looking forward to Tuesday, 7 p.m. live, you guys. Tuesday, 7 p.m. Make sure you guys tune in to listen. This is a serious topic that needs to be discussed. This is something that is happening right before our eyes. Many of you may not even understand the consequences of because the rents are going to go up. When I was thinking about this in its whole totality, I was thinking, with everything that's going on in the world right now, the rents have already gone up. I can't even imagine after they finish doing what they're doing with the gentrification, what Broadway's going to look like. Because right now, that's probably the lower income rents. People who don't have that much money, they tend to be on either parts of the West Side and definitely Broadway. But
Yeah.
now with them building it up, the rents are going to go up
Right.
higher. I know
I
people.
just the report from the Buffalo News is that the average rent in Buffalo is $1,100
I
right
saw
now.
that.
to a person from Buffalo, that might not be a lot in Chicago, but to us that is totally
Astronomical.
crazy. And my brother has been out of the city for 10 years. He said he found a posting $850 with everything included. I said, brother, you better jump on that right now, because that is the best it's going to get. And this is a person who is used to under $500. You could get everything done. 10 years ago, I was like, those days are long gone. No one can do that. No one can have their coffee shop job anymore and be part-time. You really have to hustle and be on your hustle to make these rents out here. Yeah, like $1,100 is, as you said, astronomical and unacceptable.
Yeah, I mean, $800. If you were paying $800 in Buffalo a few years ago, you were definitely living in a really nice neighborhood. Now,
right,
not happening. Now, $800 may get you a 1-bedroom studio.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
it was a studio that he said, and that's as good as it's gonna get, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Well, Harper, I'm not going to keep you. I am looking forward to our conversation. Thank you so much for doing this. I know you have a lot going on. You guys have been working hard. This is what I love, is that you actually and mind you, you are not African American, but you recognize the issue and visit their website. Make sure you guys go on their website. It's a really good read. It's www.ourcitybuffalo.org. Make sure you go on there. There's a really good, valuable information. You can do your due diligence. I'm doing mine, and I thank you. If you guys have not gotten your thanks, I thank you.
Hey, I appreciate it so much. And I'm also going to shout out just our redistricting website is ourcityactionbuffalo.com/redistricting. It's a one-stop shop for all of this issue, and we update it daily.
Okay, I'll make sure that's put in the ticker down there.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Harper.